Hi, it's Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I found an interesting article in Cosmo magazine and wanted to present it as a topic for discussion. It was on a woman's experience doing her hair for the first time in front of her really good, but more importantly, type 1 hair friend. In brief, it was wash day. She had pre-pooed with a conditioner earlier that day, with plans to wash her hair later that evening. Sounds familiar. Her wash and style routine is a solid 2 hours after years of perfecting it and featured the usual components: pre-poo, shampoo, deep condition, and style. As we know, this is a long, involved, and often unattractive, yes, I said it, process. At least it is for me, although my purple bathrobe, orange wraparound towel, and 4 high puffs wrapped in 4 different color silk scrunchies doesn't help. So, horror in my eyes, and in those of the writer, her friend stopped by unexpectedly and wanted to go out. She was embarrassed and didn't know how to play it. And I say play purposely. Especially early on, post Big Chop, I went lengths to hide my hair. All sorts of maneuvers and mind tricks involved to ensure that Nick never saw the damage, or lack thereof. Anyway, she had never talked to her friend about her hair before. For someone with type 1 or 2 hair, type 4 and even low type 3 hair routines are a complete unknown. They assume we just wash and go like them, but in the textbook definition of washing then going, not the liad natural hair turn of phrase. People see the end results and have no idea the time and effort that went into a mediocre or even terrible outcome from a failed twist out, or braid out, or rod set, or wave formers. Or the author was not ready, unexpectedly, and all of a sudden to bring someone in. She was embarrassed, and not because she should be, but because one is fooling themselves or going overboard to be perfectly politically correct if they maintain that every state of natural hair is beautiful to the masses. With this truth in mind, she asked her friend to sit down and watch a Netflix movie while she washed her hair, because it would be a while. To her dismay, though, she was instead intrigued and noted that they had never actually discussed her natural hair before. She wanted to sit in the bathroom with her while she did it. That happened. She asked a ton of questions, showed genuine interest in the process, and in the end, it was a growing experience for the author, and more importantly, for their friendship. The experience ended up a judgment-free teaching moment instead of one of the many feared alternatives. Many parts of this article resonated with me. I found, for instance, that when I started my transition to natural hair, and my hair became an active player in my life, my type 1 and 2 and my relaxed friends started asking me a whole bunch of questions about my hair. I would initially shrug them off, assuming they were asking only to be nice or feign interest in something that they cared absolutely nothing about, or maybe they were even subconsciously looking down on my hair. It also somewhat embarrassed me to explain to them how much time, effort, and thought went into my hair on such a regular basis for it to come out looking very often maybe just fine, and with none of the bounce and sheen their hair exhibited with little or no effort. Every style doesn't hold, every wash day doesn't yield definition, moisture, and glory. I'm not going to defend or even really speak on this matter. Hair is different across types, by definition. 3 and 4 happen to require more time. Neither type is better, but some are more high maintenance. And I shouldn't have to add chemicals to my hair and body to feel good in my own hair follicles. My hair looks good on its own, and in its own right, but there is a higher learning curve to figure out how to take care of your hair, and I accept that. If some weeks it looks less than good, so be it. Our hair is not easy, but is incredibly versatile and pretty cool. So instead of scowling daggers into Miss Type 1 over there, complaining that her straight, glossy, butt-length hair is so limp and lifeless, while I'm over here looking like an oddly arranged set of bushes half the time, I remind myself that everyone has their problems, and limp, lifeless hair is a perfectly reasonable complaint. Also, everything really doesn't need to be a comparison. She has her hair, I have mine, we'll each provide for our own, and swap horror stories with no envy in sight. As mentioned numerous times on my channel, I had long, relaxed hair when I met Nick. For those of you who are new, he's the husband. I had finally started taking care of my hair a couple years back, so it was flourishing by then. He is white, fully, and his family is white, genetics and all of that. He grew up in a white area with maybe 2 to 3 black kids in his public school. He further went on to a largely white college and works in a dominantly white industry. I faced the same growing up, even went to a small Jewish college, except I was and am black. So I grew up surrounded by flowing type 1 to 3 hair, and 100 times out of 100, I know I would have chosen to relax my hair. No judgment here, no judgment there, but I also believe that 100 times out of 100, Nick too would have gone for the familiar, someone with straight hair. One form gets you the job and the guy, and the other doesn't. We are mid-evolution, and I fully expect this will not be the case in the future, but it is now. And to bring this back abruptly to the topic at hand, pre-personal growth me would have had no problem with Nick or another friend seeing my relaxed hair mid-wash. Natural, on the other hand, different story. But here I am on YouTube now. I recall mine and Nick's first real discussion on race was maybe 2 years ago, and we've been together for I think 9 or 10 years. Being an interracial couple, we have gotten looks over the years, and people remember us because we stand out, although a lot less than we used to. When we first moved into our neighborhood, the racist people in our community, quite an uncomfortable many at the time, although passively racist, scowling at me, having despite us made complete eye contact, crossing to the other side of the road, the ones confused as to why the nanny was always driving the family car and acting like she owned the place. This post is not about passive and active racism in America, so let me get back on topic. But my point is, race has always been an undertone in our lives, whether or not we acknowledged or discussed it. Most unoriginal statement of the year. Next, maybe to the fact that people should really have always been washing their hands. When I decided to transition, it felt a lot like a bait and switch. It was the equivalent, in my mind, to Nick having grown a beard or goatee after we got married and never removing it. Easiest example I can come up with because I hate facial hair for someone that I'm with. It's great on other people. And there's only so many things a man can do. It didn't help that I was transitioning during my 3rd pregnancy because it's kind of true what they say, you get bigger faster the more children you have. So I had puffy roots, no energy, looking bulbous from pregnancy. Yes, that's Layla in the background. Often no makeup because Layla had me with the morning sickness daily for about 9 months, so I didn't bother. My situation was definitely amplified, but even without, changing my hair was a huge decision I made without ensuring it was what he really wanted. I suspect if it was all the same to him, he would have requested I change nothing. Amanda with relaxed hair was, after all, the Amanda he fell for. The Amanda who could wash and style her hair in 45 minutes, not over 3 days. Nick has been asking questions from the beginning of my natural hair journey, but I assumed he was making fun of me in some way or that he didn't really care for my explanations about pre-poo or why I deep conditioned for 5 hours or a hair type or why this was my wash routine in the first place or whatever else. This article was about a woman being afraid to let her type 1 friend see her wash her hair. I get it. Maybe not until an entire month after starting my YouTube channel, I wouldn't even let my husband, father of my children, father of my dog, see my hair. Far less a friend. If he would walk in the bathroom while I was prepping my hair in any way, I would cover my head in shame and pretend there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for why I all of a sudden frantically tossed a towel on my head or all of a sudden went running into another room. Mind you, none of this response ever stemmed from anything Nick said or did. He has always been very outwardly accepting of my decision, though still I lived in this embarrassment for approximately 1 year. It's possible a lot of this embarrassment we feel is self-imposed. A lot, but definitely not all. I think it was finally just the intense inconvenience of living life this way that I eventually became comfortable and even excited, although still with reticence. I would excitedly show him the difference between my natural and my relaxed hair when I washed, and I would beam excitedly as I saw my curls pop over the next several months. But even having spent several months letting him into my process, I big chopped and wore a hat around him for the first month and a half. It was post Big Chop that I started my channel, and herein lay another struggle. I loved what I was doing and I wanted to share it on social media, but I was so aware of the ever diminishing degrees of separation rampant through social media. If I were to tell one person and they subscribe to me on YouTube, this person might get a notification to follow me on Instagram, which may in turn cause a system to provide me as a recommendation for friends to follow to another person. who may then get a line into my YouTube, and that might get back to someone I know. So I kept my mouth shut. Just like in my other social commentary videos, I am not here to teach you. I only want to share my experiences and hear about yours. I'm always honest, and I hope that nothing I have said offends anyone. I apologize if it did. I also didn't maintain focus here. I realize that, and I apologize. I'm just here talking. There are so many ties to various aspects of your life that natural hair can infiltrate. An article about one thing can have you going off on tangents for the next 3 days about this and that and the other. I am confident now in making this video because I have evolved. Come one, come all, see my hair however it fall. Or doesn't, because it's known to also defy gravity. Now right now though, look at this beautiful twist out, braid out. One last unfortunate point here. Thinking back to high school when I may have had to go an extra week or 2 before getting my relaxer, I would get so many compliments when my hair was again bone straight from the roots down. Or even now, I see someone with natural hair straightens it and they have people jumping out of windows complimenting them on how amazing it looks, even giving the compliment of suggesting that it's even a wig. And if I ever bring that flat iron to my hair, I don't think I will, but I could be sure that Nick would compliment me on how amazing my hair looked. The truth is, people still prefer straight hair. It's a society and a preference thing, and you can't fight that. Society-wide adaptation takes time. Just have the confidence in yourself, in your hair, and let that other ish go. Similar experiences, stories, thoughts, comment below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my content and haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss my uploads. And hit that bell notification if you don't hate pop-ups on your phone. Like, comment, share, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Thanks, and have a good one.